Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Great to see you. Welcome to Amsterdam for the UEFA Nations League draw. All 55 UEFA member associations will be taking part in the league phase draw, and we're delighted to have representatives from all of the nations here with us today. Now, as you know, the competition kicked off just 2 years ago. It proved to be a resounding success, an overwhelming success, with highly competitive matches that drew praise from across the continent. After a thrilling league phase, the 4 group winners from League A met in Portugal to take part in the first ever UEFA Nations League finals, where the hosts made history by lifting this trophy. So before we begin this evening with a draw, let's take a moment to relive some of those unforgettable, magical moments from our first ever UEFA Nations League. And congratulations again to Portugal for winning the inaugural edition of the UEFA Nations League. Now it's time to introduce our 4 special guests who will be assisting us with today's draw. They're representing the 4 teams who made it to the final 4 of the competition. They're Switzerland, England, Netherlands, and Portugal. The first one up will help us with the drawing of the 7 teams in League D. He's a former goalkeeper who represented England for a national record 15 consecutive years. Please welcome David Seaman.
Hi, you okay?
Great to see you, David.
Thank you.
Welcome. You represented England 75 times.
That's right, yeah.
A lot of caps across many years. Very experienced in international football. As you know, the last edition of the UEFA Nations League was the first one ever. Yeah. How did you see the competition, and how did you see England's performance as well?
England's performance was good. You know, it's great to see. It's great to see the fact that the players are taking it more seriously. I think with friendlies, it was a little bit different, but now that there's something on the games, it makes a lot more difference.
Regarding this summer's UEFA Euro 2020, England is a host nation. You know all about playing a Euro at home as well. So what advice do you have for the England players?
Is try to enjoy, because, you know, trust me, it can give you lifetime experiences. My Euro 96 will be with me forever, and I just hope that England can recreate that, but then go one step further.
David, thank you for now. You're going to help us out with the draw. And to lead proceedings, please welcome on stage the UEFA Deputy General Secretary, Giorgio Marchetti.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Amsterdam for the 2020-2021 UEFA Nations League Group Phase Draw. This is the second edition of the UEFA Nations League, a tournament that proved to be an overwhelming success for fans, players and coaches. The competition has certainly achieved its main aim. It has given fans of all countries, no matter the level of their ability, the chance to dream. In less than a month's time, at least one country will qualify for the UEFA Euro for the first time in their history, courtesy of their position in the UEFA Nations League. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Portugal once again, who are the first ever winner of this competition, but also wish all 55 UEFA national associations the best of luck when the tournament starts in September. And now, before we find out who will play who in which group, it's time for the draw procedure.
55 teams participate in the UEFA Nations League, and they have been divided into the 4 leagues according to their results in the first edition of the UEFA Nations League. League A will have 4 pots with 4 teams each. League B will also have 4 pots with 4 teams, and the same for League C. League D has 1 pot with 4 teams and the second pot with 3 teams. The draw is done league after league, starting with League D. This will be followed by League C, B and A. Within each league, the draw will start from the lowest pot to the highest pot. Drawn teams are allocated to the groups in ascending order from groups 1 to 2 in the case of League D. The draw starts with League D. The first team is drawn and the team assigned to Group D1. A second team is drawn and the team assigned to Group D2, and so on until Pot 2 has been emptied. The draw continues with Pot 1, assigning the first drawn team to Group D1. The second team drawn is allocated to Group D2. The next team drawn will then complete Group D1, and the remaining team from Pot 1 occupies the last available spot in Group D2. The draw for League C starts with Pot 4, containing 4 teams. The drawn teams are assigned to Groups C1 to C4 in ascending order. The draw continues with Pot 3, and the same procedure applied to Pots 2 and 1. Every group will be composed of 1 team from each pot. The draw for Leagues B and A all follow the same procedure as League C. The league phase will be played from September to November 2020, and the finals will conclude the competition in June 2021.
All right, that's pretty straightforward. As you now know, we'll start the draw with League D, and here's a quick look at the 7 teams that are in it. That's the lineup in League D. Let's have a look at those 7 teams and the pots they're in. In pot 1, we have Gibraltar, Faroe Islands, Latvia, and Liechtenstein, while in pot 2, we have Andorra, Malta, and San Marino. Giorgio, over to you so you can kick off the draw.
Thank you, Pedro, and actually over to David, with the other guest legends will help us compile the groups of the UEFA Nations League 2020-21. And as announced in the draw procedure, we always start with the lowest pot in each league. In this case, it's pot 2. So in a short while, we can see the first team drawn for this second edition of the UEFA Nations League.
First team is Malta.
And that's Malta going to Group D1. Malta. And the second team of pot 2 will now join the other group of this league.
The second one is San Marino.
And that's San Marino, Group D2 for the team of San Marino. Now, since in this league we have one group of 4 and one group of 3, this team of pot 2 will join Malta in Group D1.
This team is Andorra.
And that's Andorra. So Andorra and Malta are the 2 teams in D1. And to complete these 2 groups, now we need to see how the 4 teams of pot 1 are allocated now to the 2 groups, Gibraltar, Faroe Islands, Latvia, and Liechtenstein.
Latvia.
So Latvia joins Group D1 together with Andorra and Malta. Now a second team needed for the second group.
Next team up
is Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein together with San Marino is in Group D2. Now only one team left in each of the 2 groups. First D1, where we have already Latvia, Andorra, and Malta.
The Faroe Islands.
And now the Faroe Islands joining this group, which is so completed. Faroe Islands, Latvia, Andorra, Malta. And one team is left in this group, in this spot.
The last one is Gibraltar.
Gibraltar joins Liechtenstein and San Marino in Group D2.
So the lineup for League D is complete. Let's have a look at those 2 groups. In D1, we will have the Faroe Islands, Latvia, Andorra, and Malta. And in Group D2, it's Gibraltar, Liechtenstein, and San Marino. Our thanks to David for his valuable help. Ladies and gentlemen, David Seaman.
Yes.
Many thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now we're moving on to League C. And before we invite our next guest on stage, let's have a look at the 16 teams involved. So those are the teams in this league. Time to introduce our next guest who will help us draw them. He's a former defender who won 57 caps for the Swiss national team. Please welcome Philippe Senderos.
Hi.
Hey, Philippe.
Good evening.
Welcome. You had a great international career as well, played in a variety of major competitions, 3 World Cups, 2 Euros. I wanted to ask you about Euro 2008 because Switzerland was one of the co-hosting nations. How was it to play in front of the home fans?
It was an amazing feeling to play at home in front of our fans. I mean, the memories that we have from these moments were very special. There was a sea of red and a lot of Swiss shirts, so that was amazing.
Switzerland was pretty amazing as well in the first edition of the Nations League, reaching the Final Four. How did you see their campaign, and how high can they go for the second edition?
The campaign is great, has been great for the last few years. I mean, this is the best result Switzerland has had at the international level, so that's amazing to see. And the objective will be to take part in the finals again, I think.
Philippe, you're going to help us out with the draw from League C. Before you do so, let's have a look at those pots. In pot 1, we have Greece, Albania, Montenegro, and Georgia. In pot 2, it's North Macedonia, Kosovo, Belarus, and Cyprus. Estonia, Slovenia, Lithuania, and Luxembourg are in pot 3. And in pot 4, it's Armenia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Moldova. Over to you, Giorgio and Philippe.
And pot 4 is the one which will kick off League C as the Nations League is taking shape. And the first team drawn in League C is
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan. C1 is the group of Azerbaijan, which suffered only 1 defeat in the first edition of the UEFA Nations League against the group winners of Kosovo.
Next one up is?
Armenia.
Now, Armenia, group C2 for Armenia. 14 goals scored by their team in the Nations League 18-19. The second best scorer.
This one is Moldova.
Moldova. Now, Moldova is joining group C3. So C3 for Moldova. We had 4 clean sheets in the first edition. And
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan to complete pot 4 and to complete the first row of these 4 groups. We are moving on with pot 3. And pot 3, I remind you, includes Estonia, Slovenia, Lithuania, and Luxembourg.
The first one team out of this pot is?
Luxembourg.
Luxembourg, together with Azerbaijan, goes into group C1. And now another team is needed to face Armenia in C2.
Estonia.
Estonia, together with Armenia, will compete in group number 2 of League C. Third group, and another team.
Slovenia.
Slovenia facing Moldova in group C3. Now 1 name is left and will be halfway through this league as well.
And last one is Lithuania.
So Lithuania is joining Kazakhstan in group C4. Now, to give even more shape now to these groups, we are moving to pot 2, and Philippe is showing us a first team of pot 2.
First one is Cyprus.
Cyprus, now together with Luxembourg and Azerbaijan, is in group C1. Cyprus.
Third team for C2.
North Macedonia.
1 more, and that's North Macedonia, allocated to group C2 with Estonia and Armenia. They were group winners in the previous edition of one of the groups of League D, and they qualified for the playoffs of the Euro.
Kosovo.
Kosovo It also qualified for the playoffs. Kosovo is joining Slovenia and Moldova in C3, and Kosovo will have to face North Macedonia in the upcoming playoffs, end of March.
And the last one, Belarus.
And finally, Belarus, with together with Lithuania and with Kazakhstan, are the three teams so far drawn into Group 4 of League C. Now, with these 4 teams, we will know everything about League C. We're starting with Group 1.
Montenegro.
So Montenegro, Cyprus, Luxembourg, Azerbaijan. That's the lineup of Group C1.
Georgia.
Georgia, North Macedonia, Estonia, and Armenia is Group C2. Georgia were the best ranked team in League D of the Nations League, playing off against Belarus to try to qualify to the Euro.
Greece.
Greece together with Kosovo, Slovenia, and Moldova completes Group C3. And for Group C4, one team is left, and that's to be allocated right there.
Albania.
The team of Albania together with Belarus, Lithuania, and Kazakhstan in Group C4.
The lineups for League C are complete. Let's have a look at those groups. A lot of exciting matches to look forward to. A lot of reactions here in the room already. In C1, we will have Montenegro, Cyprus, Luxembourg, and Azerbaijan. In C2, Georgia, North Macedonia, Estonia, and Armenia. In C3, it's Greece, Kosovo, Slovenia, and Moldova. And in C4, Albania, Belarus, Lithuania, and Kazakhstan. Our thanks to Philippe. Ladies and gentlemen,
thank you very much.
Philippe Senderos.
Thank you.
Well done.
Well, we're halfway through the draw at the moment. Pretty exciting already. 2 more leagues to go. Let's have a look at the 16 teams in League B. And those are the 16 teams who will be drawn next. And here to help us out with this section of the draw in League B is our next special guest. He's a midfielder who began his career not far away from here at all with Ajax, and since then earned 109 caps for the Netherlands. Please welcome Rafael van der Vaart. Welcome, Raf.
Hi, thanks.
It's weird for me to welcome you to your own city, but there you go. Yeah. Raf, you did start playing very close to here, obviously, in the city of Amsterdam with Ajax, with a lot of talented players. There's a lot of young, talented players in the current Dutch squad. How did you see their campaign in the first Nations League?
Yeah, great. I think everybody enjoyed it. They're not as good as my generation, but they're okay. No, they're fantastic. And I think it's really good for the Dutch football, you know, that also the national team is great again. We are really proud, and I think we have a good chance again.
Before then, we've got the UEFA Euro 2020 this summer. How are the expectations for the Netherlands, considering that you'll be hosting games as well?
Yeah, in Holland, we always think we're going to win. So, and I think you don't start a tournament to say we're going to be second. So, we're going to win.
All right, well, you're going to help us out with the draw in just a moment. Let's take a look at the League B pots. As always, we have 4 pots in this league. It's Russia, Austria, Wales, and the Czech Republic in pot 1. In pot 2, Scotland, Norway, Serbia, and Finland. In pot 3, Slovakia, Turkey, Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland, while it's Bulgaria, Israel, Hungary, and Romania in pot 4. Back over to you two gentlemen.
Thank you, Pedro. So you're motivated, Rafael. Wait a second. Just shuffle for you. And now it's your turn. That's your job. Please tell us which is the first team of League B.
And that is?
It is Romania.
Romania. Romania B1 for Romania, which were unbeaten in the previous edition of the UEFA Nations League. And now looking forward to play off with Iceland.
The next one is Israel.
Israel, Group B2 for the team of Israel. Also one of the teams in the Euro playoffs, together with Scotland. The first match, and then we'll see.
It's Hungary.
Hungary, Group B3 for Hungary, one of the hosts of the Euro 2020 with a new magnificent stadium in Budapest, but they have to go through the playoffs if they want to be there.
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria, and Bulgaria B4 will be the opponent of Hungary in the playoff. So with this, we have completed
pot 4.
Pot 4, and we're ready to proceed with the other teams to see the first pairings of this League B. Who plays who?
Northern Ireland.
So Northern Ireland is together with Romania in Group B1. Northern Ireland and Romania. So one other team waiting for playoffs against Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Slovakia.
And Slovakia now, Slovakia and Israel together in Group B2 for Slovakia, and the opponent of Slovakia in the playoffs will be Republic of Ireland.
Next one.
Next one is Turkey.
Turkey. So Turkey with Hungary in Group B3. Turkey already qualified for the Euro, where they were semi-finalists in 2008.
And the last one is Republic of Ireland.
The last one, Republic of Ireland with Bulgaria, Group B4. So that's half of the composition of the groups of League B. We're ready to move on and allocate another team that will play with Northern Ireland and Romania in B1.
It is Norway.
So Norway, Northern Ireland, Romania. This is the lineup so far for B1. Norway looking forward to meeting Serbia in the Euro playoffs.
And the next one is Scotland.
So Scotland with Slovakia and Israel, and Scotland and Israel will meet much sooner than the Nations League in the playoffs of the Euro.
For B3, it's
Serbia.
Serbia together with Turkey and Hungary. That's another team in Group B3. The fourth team of Pot 2 will now join Group B4.
It's Finland.
So Finland together with Republic of Ireland and Bulgaria will play in B4. So only one team is left for us to see the entire composition of these 4 exciting groups in League D. Certainly hard fought, all of them.
It's Austria.
So Austria completes B1 together with Norway, Northern Ireland, and Romania. And for B2 now, Rafael will show us what's the team from pot 1.
The next one is Czech Republic.
And that's Czech Republic. Czech Republic together with Scotland, and Slovakia, and Israel.
Got a derby there.
Yes.
Next one is Russia.
Russia, Serbia, Turkey, Hungary. It's a good lineup also for Group B3. Very interesting.
And the last one is Wales.
And the last one is Wales. So also here we have Wales, Finland, Republic of Ireland, and Bulgaria. And with this, that's all for League B.
Yeah, another exciting league. I think it's worth having a look at all the groups. Let's recap them. In B1, we'll have Austria, Norway, Northern Ireland, and Romania. In B2, it's the Czech Republic, Scotland, Slovakia, and Israel. Russia, Serbia, Turkey, and Hungary will be playing in B3. And in B4, it's Wales, Finland, Republic of Ireland, and Bulgaria. Rafael, thank you so much for your help. See you soon.
Welcome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rafael van der Vaart. Last but certainly not least, we're moving on to our final league, League A. This contains the top 16 ranked nations. And those are the teams in League A. And to help us out with this section of the draw, we have a Ballon d'Or winner who made 127 appearances for the Portuguese national team, featuring in 3 UEFA Euros, including a final, and 2 World Cups. Please welcome Luís Figo.
Hi, Giorgio.
Grande Luís. Tudo bem?
Bem, obrigado.
Luís, welcome. You know all about big tournaments. I wanted to talk to you about the fact that Portugal right now, they're Euro champions, Nations League winners as well. Is this one of the greatest ever eras in Portuguese football?
Good evening. Well, I think in the last years it's been very successful for my country. That means that all the team, federation and coaches are doing amazing. So, yes, it's a fantastic era for us.
We had the first ever edition of the Nations League. What did you make of the competition overall?
Well, I think, first of all, for the first edition means that it was a great decision by UEFA, changing the friendly games for a competitive competition. And we could watch fantastic games, a great atmosphere, and the possibility to some teams to be in the Euro.
and we expect more of the same in the second edition. Before we start with the final League A draw, let's take a look at the pots. We have in 1, we have the holders, Portugal, Netherlands, England and Switzerland. In pot 2, Belgium, France, Spain and Italy. In pot 3, it's Bosnia, Herzegovina, Ukraine, Denmark and Sweden. And in pot 4, Croatia, Poland, Germany and Iceland. Gentlemen, over to you one final time.
Let's hit up a little bit pot number 4. And since the stakes are getting higher and higher, this is the job for a Ballon d'Or. Luis Figo. Pot number 4 is Croatia, Poland, Germany.
I have to. I'm sweating. Sorry.
So the first
is
ball
not for me.
from pot 4.
Don't want to come out.
They want to come out?
Please.
Let's see if I have better luck.
There we go.
Yes,
Thank
I have
you.
better luck.
This is not for me. First is Poland.
First team is Poland, the Group A1 for the team of Poland. So qualifying to the Euro with only
This is more easy.
1 defeat in 10 matches. You see now you've learned how to do it.
Iceland.
Iceland goes to Group A2. So Iceland, second team drawn. In one of the teams of the playoffs, they will play against Romania at the end of this month.
Croatia.
And now it's the vice world champion of Croatia joining Group A3.
And completing the first sections of the groups is
Germany.
Germany. So finally, Germany, Group A4 for Germany. Let's keep cool and go ahead, please. Tell us who will meet who in this Group A1. Poland is already allocated there.
Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Bosnia-Herzegovina is the opponent, the first opponent of Poland in this Group A1. Bosnia-Herzegovina set for a playoff against Northern Ireland. Try to qualify for the Euro.
Denmark.
Then Denmark is joining in a Nordic group so far, A2. Iceland. Denmark is already qualified for the Euro. We're unbeaten in their qualifying group.
Sweden.
Now Sweden, and Sweden joins Group A3 where they find Croatia. Croatia and Sweden are the 2 teams there. So with this, the last team of Group of Pot 3
Ukraine.
is of course Ukraine, and Ukraine will face the like of Germany in this Group A4. So 50% of the work is done. Wish, I'm sure that you will deliver stunning groups now with this remaining teams. So for A1, who do you have?
Italy.
Italy. So Italy, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and Poland again, as it was the case in the first edition ever of the Nations League. So Italy, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and Poland. This is Group A1 so far.
Belgium.
Belgium now, together with Denmark and Iceland. So Belgium was the best team in the qualification phase of the Euro 2020. 10 matches won and 40 goals scored.
France.
France, Sweden and Croatia, so can have a remake of the World Cup final in this group, A3, France versus Croatia.
and the last one from pot 2.
Spain.
Spain, Ukraine and Germany. It's very promising actually, this group A4. Only 4 teams. And after this, we have the full picture of our new Nations League 2020-2021. We start to complete now Group A1.
The Netherlands.
So the Netherlands, our hosts of today, the Netherlands, Italy, Bosnia-Herzegovina and Poland, so are the group A1.
England.
England now, England together with Belgium, Denmark and Iceland is Group A2. And let's see now who goes where.
Portugal.
So Portugal A3. Portugal will play France exactly as it will happen in the upcoming Euro 2020 in the group hosted by Munich and Budapest. So Portugal, France, Sweden, Croatia, that's Group A3. And
Switzerland.
finally, Switzerland, Spain, Ukraine, Germany. That's all for League A and for the whole of the Nations League.
All right, a lot of reactions here. Let's recap the League A groups. Fantastic matches to look forward to. In A1, we will have the Netherlands, Italy, Bosnia-Herzegovina and Poland. In A2, England, Belgium, Denmark and Iceland. In Group A3, it's Portugal, France, Sweden and Croatia. And in Group A4, Switzerland, Spain, Ukraine and Germany. And that brings us to the end of today's UEFA Nations League draw. Now we have a few months to wait before the competition kicks off in September. Good luck, of course, to all 55 participating teams. Our thanks to Luis, all the special guests,
Pleasure.
to Giorgio as well. Of course, thank you for joining us, and it's goodbye from Amsterdam.